Mom! Who ate all the crumpets?
Remember the little monster who came for lunch and stayed for tea?
Little monster came to lunch and stayed for tea is a game by Strawberry Studios. For setup, we're going to have a deck of food cards. We're going to have some monster cards. Everyone's going to have 2 monster cards. This will be a 2-player game because I have 2 sets of monsters, each player having 2. Then I take the backs of the monster cards, are these table cards. You take 4 of them, put them face down, that's going to turn into a board. What happens is they make these plates, which become the spots that the monsters are going to be racing around and trying to be the first person to get both your monsters off the end of the plate there, and you win the game. That's how you set the game up. Super quick to set up, super easy. My 2 monsters are named Kenneth and Irene, and I don't know why we have to think monsters are named Spike and Killer and Brutus. These are both family names. This is my great-grandfather, and this is my mom's middle name, so that's kind of fun. Kenneth has a thing where normally when you feed a monster, he goes up 1 spot after you give him 15 value of food. Kenneth goes up 2 spots after he gets 20 value of food. And Irene has a deal where she just wants to get around that table. So when she gets close to the end, when she gets 1 spot away from the end, she pushes with all her might and gets to the last space and finishes the game. So Irene's a strong finisher. All the monsters in this game have little abilities like that. I won't get into all those because I want to keep this pretty short. So this typically would be what I would call like a hand of cards, but I'm playing them on the table because I want us to be able to have things focus well and be able to see things much better than if I'm holding them in my hand. So these would be the 2 cards in my hand, normally secret knowledge to me. And so basically this one says, all monsters move forward 1 space. And it's got an 8 value. That's a very powerful card. Take the top food card from the discard pile. So some sushi and some, I don't know, looks like chips or something. And the total for these 2 cards actually is 15. But at the beginning of my turn, I'm going to draw 2 more cards. So now I have draw 2 food cards, then discard 1 food card, a 2 value card, and then a 1 value card that says draw 1 food card. So on my turn, I have to play cards that value up to 15 if I want to move my monster, or greater. So the thing that happens on that, I could play all these cards, okay? But what happens is this, I say, hey, I've got all these cards I'm playing. Well, then they say, okay, that's fine, but you have to discard a card. You have to flip a card over, and if you still have over 15 value of cards, then take that card back into your hand. So I would have to have it be these 3 cards I would play on this turn, because that equals 16. So that's a little complicated, a little confusing. I could have done this one this way too, and flipped it over, but then when I flip the second card over, I do have 15 left, so then these cards would stay. So it's kind of a way to just check to make sure you're not playing too many cards. I think primarily because this game is for smaller children. So now I have 15 value face up with this face down card, and then I would take this card and get ready to discard it, but then I also do the value of these 2 cards. The other thing too, if I wanted to keep this card and use it, I could have flipped that one over. Now I have less than 15 value there. But I think these 2 cards are more valuable than this one. Especially if there's a good discard. Now, maybe at this stage in the game, this might be better to draw 2 and discard 1, especially if I was the first player. So, let's just say that I did do that. For the sake of this video, let's make that easy. I still did my 15 value, and let's say that I did this for Cecil, or not, I can't do it for Cecil, because he needs 20. So I did it for Irene. She's going to move up 1 spot on the food track. But then I'm also going to resolve these cards in any order I want. So I think the first thing I'm going to do is draw the 2 food cards and discard 1. Because you want to have a nice hand of food cards. So I drew these 2. Discard 2 food cards. Each of your monsters moves 1 space forward. Oh, wow. Draw 2 food cards, then discard 1 food card. I had that card already, right here. I think I want to keep this donut one. That's pretty crazy. So that's going to go into my hand. I'm going to discard the other one. And then this other card, move all the monsters forward 1 space. All the monsters forward 1 space, including Irene and these 3. So we've got a race started here. At the end of my turn, I'm going to take all these cards and decide what order I want to place them in and put them in the discard pile. So these monsters start working their way around the table, following that idea that if I have 15 value, they're going to go forward 1 spot, plus the resolution of the cards is going to make them possibly go up more spots. With Kenneth, my man, going up 2 spots if I can feed him 20. This is where I'd play some Chariots of Fire music if it were in the public domain and not cause me a copyright strike. So just pretend, or maybe, I don't know, play your CD version of that. And these guys are working their way around the table. We're getting into the home stretch, and who's going to win? Obviously me, because Irene made it there and she gets to finish. So both my monsters came off the table. I win the game. That's it. That's the game. So let's get back to the studio, and we'll get some thoughts about it. All right, so the little monster that came for lunch and stayed for tea. Did I say that right? It's a fun little game. It's made for kids. So Strawberry Studios is a family weight games kind of, maybe even with like younger kids kind of game studio. They make games like Mount Rushmore and this one, and they're just kind of quirky little fun games that are the kind of games you'd play with people you'd play Chutes and Ladders with or play Sorry with. But they're much better games than those. And this one definitely is a much better game than those two I just mentioned. So I think this is a game that you will like if you have kids and you like playing games with your kids. So it's definitely good for that. It's that intro level, basic card powers that synergize, figuring out what set of cards you're going to play, and then figuring out how those cards are going to work together to really make things the best for you. Which cards I'm picking out of my hand. That's really at the heart of this game, and it really introduces that basic idea of hand management or using cards with powers on them. And this is the first time that a young person might experience that, take that, or experience that my monster is different than your monster, and he's able to go extra spots if I do this thing, you know? So I think that all those things are really neat things that are present in this game, and it's made to do that in the most simple, kid-friendly package possible. So the positives for this game, definitely it's for kids. It's a good kid-friendly game, and it's a good way to introduce those kind of like combative, face-to-face, heads-off kind of, face-off kind of card games. So those are the positives. The negatives for this game, it's for kids. So I don't think this is a game that you're going to want to play and have it at your game group and be like, oh man, I've got this hot new game, and it's, it's going to be like blowing everyone's mind. It's not that game. It's not reinventing anything. It's just a nice little package. It takes ideas that are present in other games and puts them into this little package. The one little unique twist is that number system that you play a certain number value of cards. That's kind of neat. It's not just play one card, but I think that's going to be enough to maybe make this game. If you bought this because you had a family and you wanted to play with them, maybe your game group would play it as well as a filler. I think it's a perfectly okay game. I don't think there's anything wrong with it, but it's certainly a game made for kids and for young people, and I think for family weight gameplay. So let's break it down right into the ratings here. The accessibility of this game, it's definitely for kids. It's something that's made for families. It's accessible to anybody, I think. I think this is, if you can read the cards, you can play the game. That's what this one is. The theme on this one, the monsters are super adorable. I mean, the cutest little monsters you're going to see, to the point where my wife was inspired to make her favorite cute games video series based on this game. So my wife thought this game was so cute. She made a top 20 and started a whole new series. She wanted to talk about this herself on a video. So you can find that video on our channel, but it's that cute. And it reminds me of the Pixar Monsters movie. Monsters, like, they're just quirky, fun little monsters. They're not scary. They're not going to be intense and give kids nightmares. So I think any kid can play this. The theme's accessible for everybody. The fun of this game, I'm going to go ahead and give it a 4 out of 5 because it's a really fun little game if you're playing it with kids. Again, I think this is something that if you were playing with adults, you don't go, okay, that was okay, I guess. I mean, but if you're playing with kids and watching them enjoy the ideas of these kinds of card play and gameplay for the first time and teaching them, there's a lot of rewards in that. It's a lot of fun to do that. So I'm going to give it a 4 out of 5 for families, for that family weight gamer. The replayability of this game is actually relatively high. So I'm going to compare this. My ratings again on this are as a kid's game, as a family game. When you look at games like Candyland, Sorry, Chutes and Ladders, Hi-Ho Cherry-O, stuff like that you're going to play with kids and with families, there's no replayability there at all. It's the same game every time. Same thing happens every time. Maybe you flick the little spinner a little differently every time. But this one, there's a bunch of different monsters you can play with. A bunch of different cards could come out and combinations of cards come out. So the replay value of this game is very high. So I think that for a children's game, for a young people's game, replay is going to be a 4 out of 5. Very high. Very good. The design of the art in this game, again, my wife
loved it so much that she was like, we're going to make a video that's about cute games. And this game's inspiring me to do it. So the design and the art in this, I got to give a 5 out of 5. So overall, where am I going to land this game at? Well, I think it's definitely a Board Game Mechanics accepted game with the caveat it's for families. If I had to say that this is something I was only going to play with gamers, I don't know that I'd keep it in the collection, but knowing that someday I will have grandkids or someday I will have small children hanging around my house, or that I do teach kids and that my wife is an elementary school teacher, this has got a place for us. So something that you can enjoy with kids, younger players, definitely worth having around. And if you've got someone in your family who's a young person that is enjoying games or wants to play more games with you, this is a really strong pick for you guys. So again, Strawberry Studios does what they do very well. And this is no exception. Thanks for watching. I've been Joel with the Board Game Mechanics. And I guess this is the part where I can do my own little plug right now. If you haven't subbed, maybe think about it. If you haven't, thrown us a thumb and you like this video, man, that really helps too. Also, comments are welcome too. We love to engage with you guys. If you thought this video was okay, we have a whole bunch of them. So check out all our videos. We do a podcast as well. The podcast is probably the most fun thing we do. Probably our best product. So check the link below to get to the podcast. That's it, guys. Thanks for watching. I've been Joel. Keep gaming.